Hello and welcome to this Huddersfield Town West Yorkshire Football Show podcast. We're looking forward to another excellent chat regarding all things Huddersfield Town. We had our review show on Monday. We had our Leeds United special last night. Well, tonight it's time for Huddersfield Town. I'm your host, Stephen Downs. With me, I've got the excellent Callum Scott once again, and Zach, who you might be able to tell Zach isn't in his usual location. Well, neither is Callum, actually, because he's just moved back to Huddersfield. But, Zach is abroad at the moment and international calling in. So, how are you, boys? Firstly, Zach, how are you, mate?
Yeah, good, mate. Yeah, good. Not that international, mate. I'm only in Dublin, but I'll take it anyway.
Dublin is abroad, mate. It's not part of the British Isles, so Dublin calling, as they once say in the Eurovision Song Contest. I don't know where that's come from. Callum, how are you?
I'm good, mate. I'm not so bad at all.
Fresh trim for the pod?
Yeah, everything for the pod.
I like it. How's the move gone? Has it gone well?
Surprisingly, like stress-free.
Nice.
And I planned for it to be really stressful, so I was like really pleasantly surprised.
So the most stressful thing about you moving back is actually Huddersfield Town. Is that what we're saying?
Actually, yeah, being closer to Huddersfield Town and now having no excuse not to have to go and watch.
Right, well, let's get into it. Obviously, we had our massive review show on Monday regarding the Leeds fixture. We'll touch on it quickly to let you guys have your say. I know that you sort of messaged in the other night with your thoughts. But firstly, Zach, your thoughts on the performance against Leeds and the draw that we got out of it?
To be honest with you, mate, it's exactly as I thought the game might go if we can stay in it till half time. Obviously, it was a little bit deflating when Johnny Ogg obviously elbowed Firpo in the face. But yeah, I think we did exactly what Andre had set the team out to do. We were hard to beat. We were hard to break down. We had our moments as well in the first half where genuinely I believe we could have got a couple of goals ahead. And we did what a proper Yorkshire derby needed. They were much better football inside than us. If in doubt, kick them off the park. I absolutely loved it, mate. Ticked all the boxes for me. Maybe Pearson might have been sent off, but you know what, mate? That's what you've got to do to stop teams like Leeds. And I must say,
you didn't think we were too rough then on them poor Leeds players?
Kick them harder, mate. If the team's better than you, if someone's better than you in life, you've got to bring them down to your level. And the only way we can do that was to kick them up in the air. So. And it got the crowd going. I mean, I think there was the 5th minute, there was a tackle by Johnny Ogg on the right-hand side. And the reaction from the Kilner Bank, Absolutely quality, mate. Loved it. Loved it.
Callum, your instant thoughts about the result and performance with Leeds?
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised to watch Huddersfield Town side get after an opponent that realistically we shouldn't have been either beating or drawing with. It was so nice to see players stand up in tackles, and a complete reverse, I should say, to the away leg, should we call it, of this fixture, where we sat off, we looked lacklustre, we weren't going after the second balls, we weren't putting that foot in. It was chalk and cheese, and it just shows you, with the right sort of mentality and the right sort of instruction, these players can carry out a decent game of Championship football.
Yeah. And obviously there was a few sort of decisions that Leeds fans didn't like. Pearson not getting sent off. Hogg should have been off apparently in the first minute. Oh, there's an announcement in Dublin. It's not for Zach's flight though. Yeah, so there's a few
running.
There's a few decisions, Zach, that they weren't happy about. Oh, nonsense, in my opinion.
Look, I mean, don't they breed themselves on being dirty Leeds? I mean, it's pot calling kettle black, right? I mean, you can't have a flag at the front of the away stand saying dirty Leeds and then complain about a few hard tackles. Honestly, mate, they must have known what our game plan would be. I called it in the podcast, right? I said we'll try rustle a few feathers, we'll try put them under pressure, we won't give them an inch of space. It's exactly what we did. And players like Somerville, Nonto, you've got to kick them up in the air. They're much better. I mean, Pearson at right back up against Somerville is a complete mismatch. But what else is a mismatch is the fact that Pearson stuck him in the stands a couple of times, mate. Honestly, I was stood on my feet the whole game just thinking this is exactly what Huddersfield Town is about.
Yeah. Thanks for getting in touch, by the way, with your comments. JBLFC, LFC. Yeah, mate. We'll come on to the Cardiff game. Yes, we lost, but yeah, it wasn't our cup final. So yeah, crack on with your comments. Hello to the Heppenstals as well, Liam. Apparently, Zach, Liam likes what you've just said, and we had the pants down all game apparently. And Shane, who is his brother, apparently somebody represents Sean Dyche's son. Don't know who he means by that.
It's got to be Callum.
Surely to God.
That is quality. That is quality.
So just these two lads sit behind me, and it's like listening to the Chuckle Brothers all game. So yeah, they're quite funny lads. Anyway, we'll come on to the Cardiff game. Enough about Leeds United. We're not bothered about them. We can move on from that fixture. And to be honest, lads, I was excited about going into the Cardiff game, thinking, right, they've not got much to play for. I don't think they're coming down. They're not really going to look like they're going to go up. And the start of the game, they didn't look bothered. It was weird. It was, to me, like we started a much better team, I thought. We had a lot of impetus, and Cardiff just was like, yeah, we'll just sit back at home. They just didn't look bothered. Callum, how did you see it? And what was your expectations going into the game?
I was sort of half expecting a little bit of a hangover from the Leeds game because it was so physical. It took so much out of the players. That maybe this wouldn't be quite as a positive performance. I didn't think it would be as bad as it was. But I think something I saw before was like, we're going into this game now, we have everything to play for. Cardiff, a team currently, have probably given up on their season. They're not going to go up, they're not going to go down.
Yeah.
They've got nothing to play for apart from the end of the season. So obviously they're going to low block defensively. They're going to sit behind the ball. They're going to try and frustrate us, and they succeeded.
Yeah, I thought they were gettable though. They were a bit. To me, they're a bit like Watford. I mean, I know Watford's been on a terrible run and are looking like they're falling quicker than a brick in a swimming pool. But Zach, I thought Cardiff were there for the taking before the game, and for the first 20 minutes, that just increased my hope that we were going to get something out of the fixture. To be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I must say, I was a little bit disappointed when I seen the teams come out. I was shocked that Matos didn't start. I thought he was superb in the second half on Saturday. I think he gives you that when you are trying to break down a low block, it just gives you that opportunity that you can push your wing backs further forward because you know he's going to sweep left and right because he's got the legs to do it. But I just think we played into their hands, Steve, to be honest with you. Like when I seen Danny Ward up front by himself, I was thinking, isn't this what Cardiff want? Like
Yeah.
no runners in behind. If you think about since Darren Moore left, right, we've had 3 up top. Obviously, I know not in the first half on Saturday, right? Because I think we were trying to bully them, right? That was the game plan. But Cardiff, the back four, they're a big back four. You need runners in behind. So the fact that Karoma didn't get any minutes, I mean, I honestly don't understand it. I'm not calling Andre Brighton out at all, any stretch of the imagination, right?
Get him sacked.
But I just behave. But I just think we just literally they just read us like a book. Page 2, one up front, and Bergzog wasn't at it, was he? We just walked straight into the trap, mate. And honestly, from the first minute, I knew if we played for 180 minutes, 360 minutes, we ain't going to score. Never looked like scoring. That chance by Danny Ward, I know, puts that in, it's another day. But, I mean, we miss them week in, week out, mate, to be honest with you. I was a bit deflated, but honestly, it's such a Huddersfield Town-esque performance this season, unfortunately.
Do you not think, Callum, that, sort of as the game played out, I mean, I thought their goalkeeper was not comfortable on the ball at all, and we would have pressed him a little bit harder. I don't think they were a great footballing team at the back. I just think that because they had that low block and getting people behind the ball, it sort of, like Zach sort of says, we played into their hands because they wanted us to do what we did, and we didn't do anything different. And that sort of surprised me. And maybe I agree with you a little bit that there was a hangover from the Leeds game in terms of the physicality, and maybe there wasn't enough rest between the fixtures, which obviously we can't do anything about because that's what the league structure is.
I think, obviously, I've mentioned the hangover, but that shouldn't be an excuse for stale. I don't want to say stale tactics because obviously the manager's new into the role, so it's a bit early to be calling the tactics stale. But you know exactly what a team like Cardiff are going to do, and it's that low block. So to play into their hands the way we did, I was surprised. I was surprised that they didn't maybe try and tweak something a little bit earlier because it was clear as day early on that it wasn't going to work. We weren't going to be able to break them down. So maybe have a little tweak around, try and, instead of trying to move around them, turn on a little bit of that physicality. Why not? But we didn't. We just kept playing one way, expecting a different outcome, it seemed.
Are you surprised that like Zach said, that Karoma didn't come on? I mean, he put Edwards on again, and I actually thought Edwards put some good crosses in. His defensive element was pretty awful, but the crosses that he were putting in the box were all right. But I was very surprised Karoma didn't come on, to be honest.
Yeah, I was. I think that's always for Town. Any threat in a game like that, you've got to roll the dice. You've got to throw them on because they might be the ones that are able to steal a march on the man and get in break that defensive line. Why not give it a go? But we didn't, and I don't really know why.
Yeah. Obviously, we've had some comments come in. Thanks to Mark, who is a regular contributor of the show. Sort of Cardiff, made us play the way that they wanted us to play, which is correct, really. With the weaknesses that in our team and breaking down a team with space allowed. And hi to Gail. Gail, don't worry. Thanks for your apology from the other night. All is good in love, peace, and war. So don't worry about it. The other thing that worried me was Jack Radoni. Was probably our best player on the pitch for me in terms of trying to hunt things down and create a little bit of something, but I felt like we missed something in the middle of the pitch, Zach. Obviously Matos, came on and tried to add that little bit of physicality. I thought Kasumu was good in terms of his tackling, but we didn't have a lot of drive forward from that area, did we?
No, mate. I think it was a pre sort of worthy Ben Wiles performance, wasn't it? He was back to towing his caravan around the pitch. He looked tired. He looked slow. He took an extra touch when he didn't need to, and that's what I was kind of saying. Like that just we was playing the ball in front of the Cardiff midfield, which just literally walked straight into the trap, and that's why I was so surprised that Matos didn't start the game. I also think, going back to your point about Jack Redoni, Steve, I mean, the lad covers so much ground. Like, he covers so much ground. He's left, he's right, he's tracking back. So when he gets on the ball, like, I'm not excusing it, but sometimes he just lacks that little bit of quality. But I think that's purely because he's doing other people's legwork for him. So like last night, I mean, the amount of times he was covering Ben Wiles' space because Ben Wiles wasn't covering it in the first half. No wonder the lad's knackered and he can't do anything when he gets on the ball. But the fact, like Callum said, the fact that we waited till the 45th minute to take Ben Wiles off baffled me. Like, with the first 10 minutes, I could see you want at it, and it was the same. It was the same against who was it the other week when he got taken off at half time?
Was it Plymouth?
Nah, the game after Sunderland. Can't remember anyway, but the exact same thing happened, mate. He just looks sluggish. He looks like he's not fit. And
I mean, that's the thing, Zach, that for me, Redoni was having to do so much work in that middle part of the pitch that really we want him on that last sort of, not last third, but in between sort of the centre backs of Cardiff and the centre defensive midfielder of Cardiff. We want him in that space, and because he's not in there, and he's having to do all that work that Ben Wiles isn't doing. I mean, I was shocked with Ben Wiles' performance, really, because he was so good against Sunderland. And like I said, the game afterwards, he wasn't so good. But he's probably one of the most inconsistent midfielders I've ever seen in a Town shirt.
No, he is, mate. I mean, look at the performance when he came on at Watford. He was outstanding. The game at Sunderland, he was outstanding. But then that's a very small sample size to judge him on. So that when he has started games, he's just looked sluggish, mate. And you're absolutely right. Jack Redoni's best when he gets the ball in the half turn and he's running at defenders. That's when he's at his best. He draws a tackle, he draws a foul, he finds that pass in between the lines. But last night he just could not do it purely because Cardiff were sitting in a low block, which obviously that space then for Jack to operate in was less because the gap between the midfield and the defence was probably 10, 15 yards at most. And obviously then he was also doing Ben Wiles' work. He was trying to cover Kasumu when Kasumu was trying to drive forward. So just a frustrating night all around, mate. To be honest, and I'm not gonna sit here and criticise the side too much because we're due a bad performance. I mean, that's the first bad performance I can remember since the day that Darren Moore was sacked. So 9 games since then, and it's a bad 90 minutes, mate. So.
Yeah, Mark's also mentioned here and a couple of nice bursts from Headley. Spencer got booked quite early and didn't look on it. Obviously, he was ill before the Leeds game. Played absolutely magnificent in the Leeds game. I thought he was the man of the match. But again, Callum, we've got to recognise that because he's a young player, he's going to have these inconsistent games and not be absolutely amazing every game. And I thought Brian Wright was right to take him off at half-time, as I thought, like you said, Zach, he took Ben Wiles off. I could have taken him off earlier, but I thought, Spencer had to come off at half-time and Headley came in and did all right, I thought, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to have these options on the bench where you look and you think, right, Spencer's going off. Who have we got? Headley, right. He can do a job there in that position. We know what the game plan will be now. It'll be to try and sweep the ball out of that defence and try and move it through the lines. And that was exactly what tried to do. But again, we keep going back to that bloody hell. I don't like Jaheim Headley, do they? We keep talking about that low block and about how it completely nullified anything that we were trying to do. Yeah. And it did. And it's a really effective tactic because I thought, especially after Saturday, we would see the pressing game on Saturday. I thought was relentless. I thought it was ace. We were right in their face every second ball, chasing that ball down from minute 1 to minute 90, right? And that was nullified last night completely. So if that's a tactic, that championship teams are able to deal with that by just sitting back. So that might need a little bit of tinkering about with.
Last thing that I want to mention on the Cardiff game, really, is the substitution of Radulovic. Not played a lot of football. We've not seen a lot of him. Little glimpses here and there. A couple of home sort of appearances. The appearance at QPR and then last night. But he just doesn't look like he's anywhere near this standard of football, Zach, to me. And doesn't look like he can win a header. The physicality looks too much for him at the moment. And maybe, when we go into the summer and, we feed him a few steak chick dinners, like the Liverpool once did with Ian St. John, he might look something like, but until now, is he a bit of a wasted substitution?
I'm just going to apologise for the background noise. There seems to be a screaming kid. But yeah, I mean, he's a non-target man, isn't he? Like, I honestly don't. I mean, I'm judging him on a small sample size again, the same what I said with Ben Wiles. But honestly, like, Steve, I don't know what he brings, mate. His attributes look like he can't win header, he can't hold the ball up, he's soft on the ball. He is as slow as me. Like, he is as slow as me. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, I think I'd do him in 100-metre sprint, and I'm sluggish. I've got the same caravan that Ben Wiles does. But in terms of like, I just think bringing him on last night, like over Josh Koroma, baffled me, because it was almost like, right, we've tried playing direct, it's not worked all night. Now let's bring on another striker that needs us to play direct. I honestly didn't get it. Like, we needed runners in behind from the off, and we didn't have it. We didn't have it all night. Bergzorg, it's probably his worst game in the Town shirt. I think we'd all agree on that. So when he brings Bojan off the bench instead of Koroma, I was like, it's game over. Like, it's game over.
Yeah, I thought Danny Ward, Callum looked quite disappointed with Radulovic, because I thought maybe Danny thought, well, I'm going to get some help up top now, and then he just didn't.
I mean, there's two ways of looking at it, right? So the first one is we didn't and probably still don't know the actual level of Bojan Radulovic in footballing terms, because we don't know to compare the level that he was playing at previous to coming to us, and he's not had enough game time really to show us what level he's at. I suspect he's nowhere near the level that we need him to be because of the small sample size that we've seen. He's not been good enough, and like you say, I don't know what he brings to the side. I really don't. But I don't think we can get too downhearted with these certain substitutions that Brighton Writer's making, because I think at this point it might be this is the time to throw these players in and see what they can do for me. Can they come on? I don't have experience of seeing this player in a game situation, so I'll chuck him in, see if he can do a job. If not, next week I won't do it.
Yeah, but Callum, mate, like, we're in a relegation scrap. Now is not the time to experiment. It's the time to bring players on that can change games. And we've seen Josh Koroma change games. Chef Wednesday, he basically, 2 of the goals were completely he's making, right? And I know he's got a goal in him. Why are we experimenting with Bojan, who honestly doesn't look like he can hit a barn door right now? I don't get it. Like, there's 20 minutes left of a fixture, a winnable fixture, a fixture we need a result in. We've got QPR, who have obviously won 5 on the bounce. We've got Chef Wednesday, who have won 4 on the bounce before this week. And then we're experimenting away at Cardiff.
Yeah, but it could be, like, I completely agree there, and would say obviously Koroma over Bojan every day in probably every scenario, every game. But that it might genuinely be something as simple as Koroma's had a terrible few days in training. Bojan's looked really good.
Yeah, you don't win games in training. You win games in 90 minutes on a Saturday or a Wednesday or a Tuesday, right? And Koroma's done it this season. He has done it this season, week in, week out. Even when we look drab under Darren Moore, Josh Koroma had a little bit of a bright spark in him. I just think, I just want to see his best 11 out there, week in, week out. And Andre Brighton Wright said in his press conference this week, when he was asked, is there going to be a hangover from Saturday's game? Are people going to be tired? His answer was no. There's 4 days between the 2 fixtures. That's enough for a professional footballer to recover. They were his words, right? Not in a Yorkshire accent, but they were very much his words. And last night Last night, Cal, I saw a team that just looked dead out on the feet. To be honest,
Yeah.
like,
I mean, I don't disagree with Callum. Like in terms of we need to know obviously what his capabilities are, but to me, it was just an absolutely waste of a substitution when he could have used Karoma. A bit like I said to my dad last night watching the game, like there is absolutely no point putting Diarra on because it's just going to be a waste of a sub. He's not going to do anything. You hope that he does, but it's like hoping for the next coming, really. In a sense, I just think, as much as we've improved the squad, I still think there's areas there where we bring subs on, and sometimes they just don't bring anything to the party, and that's not necessarily Andre's fault. That's what he's having to work with.
I mean, Diarra though. I mean, he got an assist against Hull, didn't he? Didn't that goal come from him where he cut inside and found Radoni, and Radoni slotted it in the bottom right?
Yeah, but how many times, Zach, has he come on and not done anything?
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, like, I'm just saying, like, just pointing facts out, mate. That's all.
You are the official fact pointer of the.
I'm joking. I'm winding up.
No, I agree. I just think I don't know. Like I said, we might see more of what Radulovic is like when he's had a proper pre-season and maybe got used to English football a bit more. And yes, he does need that opportunity, but we need points on the board before sort of experimenting. Is my view, and it would have been great for him to score last night, but he just didn't look like. I looked probably more likely to score, to be honest.
And me.
I'm just going to contradict myself, Steve, right? Because obviously I've said there, why is he bringing on Bojan? Why is he experimenting? But then actually, if we look back to Watford, I think every single fan in that stand said, why is Tom Edwards coming on that pitch? And he got an assist. So, what do I know, mate? What do I know?
Yeah, true. All right, well, we'll move on to this weekend against West Brom. Are we all looking forward to a Sunday 12 p.m. kickoff? Callum, are you excited? Because I'm not excited, mate.
No, I'm not, because it's a Sunday 12 p.m. kickoff, yes, and we are coming up against a manager who probably knows exactly how to break us down.
Yeah.
So
it's not going to be pretty. Firstly, why the hell is Sky putting us on a Sunday at 12 p.m.?
It's not for us.
I know it's not for us, but it's just madness, isn't it? It's just like no thought for the fans at all. But that's another discussion.
Steve, mate, you've got to go down to the John Smiths. They're not asking you to go to Cardiff at 12 o'clock on a Sunday. I mean, we're going to start sounding like them down the 62 if we carry on.
I feel a little bit sorry for West Brom fans, but that's just a very tiny amount. That's just my general football fan feeling. Like you say, Zach, obviously Corberan knows us, knows the team, knows the club. He'll be determined to beat us, I think, for 2 points. One, to keep West Brom within a playoff hunt in place, which I think West Brom will get into the playoffs. And secondly, he'll probably want to beat us because we're his old club, and obviously there's a lot of things being said since he's left. So where do we think, though, on the positives that we can get at West Brom? Because what I would say is, unlike Cardiff, West Brom are not going to come to the John Smiths and sit back. They will definitely come out and try and beat us.
Yeah, no, you're right, mate. And I think that's when we're at our best, right? And I also think we can get at them for set pieces. So I caught the last 20 minutes of the game against QPR last night, switched over after the Town game had finished, and they looked all over the shop defensively from set pieces. They look like, and I mean, how much more of a threat do we look now with Hellick in the side from a set piece? We look back to sort of Huddersfield Town. There were a couple of balls in last night where I thought we were a little bit unlucky, but yeah, absolutely at set pieces we can get at West Brom. And I also think, mate, like if the crowd are at it like they were on Saturday, I think we can, if we get behind the team from the off like we did against Leeds, then it's a tough place to come. Is Huddersfield. We've done well at home recently, so yeah, I just think we kind of put last night behind us. I'd like to see us come out on Sunday, with a little bit more of a fluid approach. I don't just want to see Danny Ward or Bojan central up top by himself. I'd like to see runners off them left and right. if we are going to play that physical striker up top. And yeah, I mean, they definitely concede goals, don't they? So, get at them. Again, I suspect that the approach might be very similar to Leeds. They're a better footballing side than as West Brom. We know what to do with sides like that, right?
Cal?
No, I completely agree. I was going to say almost verbatim that the last thing that Zach said then. I think the game plan, the setup will be, if not a carbon copy, then very similar to Saturday. It's a good situation where they're going to come, they're going to look at us and go, right, this is where they are on the table. Let's go out and beat them. And we've got to turn up and we've got to be physical. We're at home. We've got to defend our patch. And I think that will get the fans up for it. Like you mentioned, that the first couple of tackles on Saturday just got the crowd right up for it. If we can see that again on Sunday, we really do perform much better when that stadium is rocking.
Matos has got to start for me, to be honest. And I don't know if you bring Hoggy back in. I think you maybe put him on the bench maybe, but I think Matos has got to start, to be honest. I'd have Matos and Kasumu in the beginning and Radoni in midfield. I don't know how you see it, Zach.
Absolutely, mate. I think if Matos is fit, he starts every single game for me. It's just that energy that we've needed. I mean, before January, that's where we lacked that energy, to be honest with you. And we lost a lot of midfield battles. And since he started games, it's no coincidence that results have improved. They've kind of come hand in hand with him joining. So yeah, he starts. He's my first name on the team sheet as well as Helic, to be honest with you, every single week. I'd also like to see, if we can, Radoni playing in the number 10 position. So I'd have Kasumu, I'd have Radoni, and I'd have Matos. I'd have probably then, I'd like to see Sorba and Karoma on the wings, and I'd like to see Bergzorg through the middle. I just think it gives us that pace on the counter, which is absolutely what we thrive off. And if teams are going to come at us, that's where we're going to hurt teams.
Asked to leave Wardy out, or
maybe so, mate. He was great against Leeds at the weekend, wasn't he? Just last night, it just looked a little bit tired. I think maybe 2 games in a week, maybe didn't do anything for him. But I just think we're at his best. I think the sample of the 4 games under Worthy, we looked at as best when we had them 3 up top, causing teams problems, interchanging Kuroma going through the middle, Bergzorg on the left. And it allowed Thomas to get on the ball in more of a positive area, whereas last night he was picking the ball up probably 10 yards inside his own half, and at times he was running forward, and Danny Ward just wants to run that sort of central run rather than running the channels, whereas Bergzorg and Karoma will get round him.
Yeah. Cal, what's your thoughts? I mean, I pretty much agree with a lot of that, to be honest.
I agree with pretty much all of that.
Yeah.
And I think that's a side that, as much as West Brom will like to try and play that running game, that's a side that's got the legs to be able to keep up. And that's when you leave your Ben Wileses and Rob Edwardses on the bench, because I think we can all agree that they're carrying that caravan. And Rob Edwards is probably a static caravan at this point. But, that them pairings are going to help us to stay in their midfield battles, where West Brom like to move the ball quickly. They like to flush it out to the wings through the midfield fast. So if we can stay on top of them, close down them channels, that's where we can recover the ball. That's where we can break quite a lot, like we did on Saturday.
Mark said about who will we pick left back. Need Bolker back, which I think we pretty much all agreed maybe last week that if Helic and Bolker are both fit, they've got to be the centre back pairing. Spencer at right back, yeah. I mean, what do we do about the left back position? Because Headley's back. Pearson has played there. Spencer actually did play there for like 20 minutes in the Leeds game. So, Zach, what do we do with the defence? I think Bolker is not going to be fit. Helic's now back, but yeah, Tom Lee's probably in again.
Yeah, so I mean, if Bolker's back, he walks in at the side. Then I'd absolutely agree with what Mark said. I'd play Headley at left back. I'd play Spencer at right back. Again, it gives us enough pace for the recovery runs. And I mean, that's quite a sharp back four. That's three of the back four there that are no slouches. Headley's quick, Balker's quick, Spencer's quick, and then you've got Hellick then to go win the headers. So I think to me that's a solid back four. And obviously, like we saw last night, Spencer's got a lapse in concentration. But again, he's a 19-year-old lad coming into the Championship football. In the last 9 games. So if they're all fit, they all start. But I agree with you. I don't think Balker will be back in time for Sunday. So I'd probably start if I could pick the back four. I'd start Pearson and Hellick at centre back, and then I'd play Headley at left back and Spencer at right back. I just prefer that pace in a wing back position.
Cal?
Yeah, I'd go with what Zach said there. I think the pairing of Pearson and Hellick as centre backs gives you that sort of brick wall that are really difficult to break down. They'll get up for headers, clear the ball. They'll fight for every ball, and then in Headley and Spencer at wing backs, you can break off quickly if you need to, or they'll play the ball like we've seen. They'll play it long up towards Karoma, up towards Thomas, instead of having to try and break down that midfield.
I think it's just unfortunate that when Pearson is at fullback, we're sort of lopsided because he's not. He don't really roam over halfway, does he? Or very rarely. It's like when he does, it's kind of a magical moment, to be honest. In terms of open play,
that could be quite good for us. Sorry, mate.
You what?
I was just going to say that could be quite good for us against West Brom if we get caught. Say if we get caught on the counter, it's good to have someone that sort of lingers back.
Yeah,
to provide that cover, because like I've said, that they're a quick side and they do like to break quickly on the counter if they can.
It just means though that Calvert, obviously we don't have that option on the other side of the pitch, do we, for it to be, to join the attack, because he naturally won't do, will he? That's the problem.
Yeah.
I do think Brian Writer does like a system where whoever's on the ball has a number of options around him to pass to. And obviously when it's on Pearson's side, you normally have Thomas going down the wing, but then what else is there? Normally you've either got Kasumu or Radoni, but there's nobody behind him because Pearson's still in our own half. And I do think that is an issue.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah,
I was just going to say, I'll also add to that a little bit as well, Steve, because I think a team like Huddersfield, like we're at the moment, we have to be quick in the transition, and at both fullbacks. Then, unfortunately, if you've got Pearson at right back and you've got Spencer at left back, you've got Spencer on his weaker foot 80% of the time.
Yeah.
Where if he's in his natural position at right back, he can play that pass a little bit quicker, which gets us further up the field a lot faster. And Pearson, for all his qualities, and I'm not slating him, for all his qualities, it's good in the air. He'll stick back and he'll win the ball back, but he does this thing where he lets the ball run across him. So Hellick will pass the ball to him and he lets it run across him, and then the amount of time he slices it into touch, it's just so infuriating. He's a professional footballer that unfortunately his strongest ability isn't playing football. It's true, right? No, not. Look at me, I'm saying you must agree with me. He's probably a League One footballer, but a Championship defender.
Yeah,
if that makes sense. Yeah. So what it does is it means that left back and at right back we're probably taking one touch too many, and that's allowing then the recovery runs in their midfield to get back in and block that pass to Radoni.
Yeah.
Whereas if you've got a natural fullback who are playing in their position, it's a lot quicker that passing to Radoni. You can turn on the half turn and get our teams then.
Yeah, I agree with that. Prediction for the weekend then, Callum, first of all.
I don't think we'll be able to keep them out and get a clean sheet, but I do think with the crowd behind us and chasing, going after them like we did against Leeds on Saturday, I think we can get probably a 2-1.
Yeah. And Zach?
So I'm gonna go 1-0 Huddersfield Town.
Nice.
I think we'll score early, mate, and I think we'll sit in a low block.
The Cardiff tactic, like it.
like the lead second half, mate. Yeah.
Yeah.
Without the sending off, hopefully.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm going 2-1. I think we can beat them. I think we can. I don't think they're as good as Leeds.
Tell you what, we're delusional, aren't we? It'll be a 5-0 and we'll be back on this podcast next week.
Goes out the window, doesn't it? I think we can beat them. Yeah, easy.
Well, no, I didn't say easy, did I? I wasn't doing a J and we'll destroy them. I think
just the tone in which you said, I think we can beat them.
Well, I do. I think anybody in this division, apart from like probably Rotherham fans, think that they can't beat anybody. But I do think anybody on their off day. I genuinely believe if we hadn't gone down to 10 men, I think we might have stuck the win against Leeds, but you never know. It depends how both teams turn up. If West Brom have an off day and we play superbly well like we did against Leeds, why can't we win?
No, absolutely. It's a game of football. You're absolutely right, mate. I said that before in the Leeds preview as well. It's a game of football. Anyone's beatable on the day, but they're a solid Championship side.
Yeah. Looking at the relegation battle, it's quite tasty. The points that people are picking up at the moment is absolutely ridiculous. It is the closest Championship season I think I've ever seen. In fact, it reminds me going back to when we stayed up against Barnsley on the last day. Yeah. We got 53 points and Peterborough went down by 1 point. It's just absolutely mad. I mean, every game, I'm watching our game and got the other eye on every other result going. I mean, how are you lads finding it?
Go on, Zach.
Yeah, I think I tweeted on just before kickoff before the Tuesday night fixture, just saying I genuinely don't think I can take it. Like I'm looking at the league table 3 or 4 times a day, trying to work out all sort of possibilities, and we've obviously got a town group chat with a few of my pals, and they're all points of the day they're posting. I've done the Championship predictor, and we're finishing 16th, and I've got Watford in the bottom 3, and I'm like, Watford, they're on 45 points. But honestly, you're absolutely any team up to Watford this year, it can class themselves in a relegation battle. And the frustrating thing is, right, I mean, we picked a point up on Saturday, obviously, and put the games on at 3 o'clock. In the first 10 minutes, I think all the positivity was knocked out of me. I think that 5 of the 6 teams around us were winning. I was like, this is unbelievable. And Danny Rawls got Chef Wednesday playing well. QPR look a different side. It's a nightmare, mate. It's an absolute nightmare.
I genuinely hate the fact that we played so well against Leeds, and then you look at the results and Chef Wednesday winning, QPR winning, but then beating teams that you wouldn't expect them to be beating. I mean, QPR to beat Leicester, come on. Do you know what I mean? When Leicester's been beating people 3-4-0 most of the season, what's happening, Cal? What is going on? Have we got some sort of like hoodoo or something?
They're probably looking at us and going, Huddersfield picking up a point against Leeds. You're joking.
Yeah, I know.
They're probably looking at us exactly the same. It's the tightest I've ever seen it, and maybe the only time where I think 50 points is going to have to be enough.
I
think
it's above 50 points, mate.
I reckon it. I think it'll be 52 points, mate. That's my prediction.
Yeah, 53.
Yeah. But back to your point there, Steve, about QPR beating Leicester. And this is where my frustrations at the start of the season were. Like, we had fans going on Twitter saying, "Oh, Leicester away today is a free hit." No, it's not. No, it's absolutely not. No game in this division is a free hit, because I'm telling you now, someone in that bottom 6 will turn over another top 3 team by the end of this season. It just frustrates the life. And we had this mentality under Darren Moore that there was free hits. There's not. It's no Championship game is a free hit. There's points to be had, and if you get at teams and you've got a positive mindset from the outset, it's doable, right? And QPR, I mean, they've completely changed. Where they were 6 games ago to where they are now, it's chalk and cheese. I
mean, do we think that if we say it right now and we put the heads on the chopping block, do we think we're going to get out of it, Cal? Do you think we're going to get out of it?
Oh, don't make me answer that.
Well, I am going to at the moment. I know it changes week to week, doesn't it? But
that's the problem. That's why I can't call it, because it changes every week. All the permutations just switch on like a knife edge. If we can get a little bit of a run going, there's no reason why we can't be up 16th because of the way the league table is that tight. But that then relies on all the teams around us not doing as well as they're doing currently because the goal difference is just as tight.
It can't carry on though, can it? You know, I mean, like,
Don't say that.
No, it can't. I don't think it can though. You can't be like, how many weeks are we going to play where we might pick up like a win? So, like, even if we beat West Brom this weekend, how many teams on Saturday? It can't be 3 games in a row, 3 match days in a row where all the bottom
Leeds
teams
on Friday, aren't they?
Yeah, well, Wednesday we've got Leeds. Obviously, we need Leeds for them to do us a favour. But, like, Stoke are terrible. Like, Stoke are really bad. Plymouth are dropping like a stone. Watford haven't won in about 19 years. You know, I mean, there are teams that I just think,
Steve,
you know.
Steve, it's the Championship, mate. Of course, Wednesday can turn Leeds over Friday night. None of us here are bet against it, right? And I think we've got to get out of this mindset of feeling sorry for ourselves, right? Like, we absolutely have to. We've got enough to stay up. We have got enough to stay up, and I'm confident we'll do it, right? I genuinely believe we'll stay up, and I mean that. You can cut this at the end of the season if we go down and say, you said we'd stay up. But we've got home games which are winnable. If we didn't have the home games which were winnable, I'd say we're in banging trouble, right? Because we do not travel well. But we've got enough in this squad now. Like, we genuinely do. And we've got experience from last year as well. I know it's different this year because we've got a different gaffer, but we've got experience in that side that knows what it's like to go out on that park and have to win.
I keep looking at the fixtures. We've got Stoke to play, Rotherham to play. We've got, a couple of
Millwall, Birmingham.
Millwall, Birmingham. So there are sides in there that if we beat them around us, it should be sorted. But it's the Championship, like you both said, and notes ever, nailed on.
And Steve, mate, if we go down, we've got ourselves to blame, right, on 2 fronts. We kept hold of Darren Moore too long. We all said it. There were 4 winnable games there before he got sacked. That if we'd have had John Worthington in, we'd have won 2 of them. Guaranteed, right? We'd have been 6 points higher up the table. We'd have been 13th. And also, if the fixtures that we've got are winnable, so if we go down, mate, we fully deserve to go down. Not because any other teams picked up points they shouldn't have. It's because we haven't won the games that we should have.
Anything else this week that you want to mention, Carl, before the West Brom game, or back onto Cardiff, or anything else?
Just really quickly, bit of a strange one. I don't know if any of you have picked up or seen. I only saw it on one of the Facebook groups today. Delano Bergzog's Instagram story after last night.
No, what's happened?
He put something on about his performance being embarrassing.
Oh.
And I thought, I didn't know whether it was sarcasm because everyone was calling it embarrassing on social media, or whether he genuinely was embarrassed and was like apologising for it. I genuinely couldn't tell.
I haven't seen it, mate. So no, you've got one up on me there. Zach, have you seen it?
Yeah, I've seen it, mate, and I think he was being genuine, right? I think a footballer knows when they've had a bad game. You know what I mean? Like, he knows when he's had a bad game, and I think he's one of them players that, I think he wears his heart on his sleeve, and I genuinely, even though he's a lone player, I think he cares. I think he does care about Huddersfield Town.
He does care. Yeah.
I think it was sincere, to be honest with you, Cal. I think he meant it, and do you know what? I love that sort of thing because I guarantee now, if he starts on Sunday, he'll have a point to prove, and it can't get any worse for him than last night, to be honest. Sorry, Delano.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. Like, it's really refreshing to see that sort of honesty from a footballer after they've had a shit game, call it out and say what it is.
Well, it's refreshing as well to have a manager that comes out after the game and said, "Look, we were poor. We weren't good enough," and rather than this, we did all right. We were tired. We were this and that and other, and every excuse under the sun. So I actually like the fact that, and the other thing I'd say about Andre is that whatever he says out in the interviews afterwards, I bet you anything he said to the players in the dressing room. There's no way he's like two-faced saying something to the media and something to the players. No. I don't think he's got that in him. I think he's refreshingly truthful.
Yeah.
So, I agree, mate. I agree.
It'll be interesting to see if Delano
I'm going to say
players.
A little bit of advice for Saturday, Steve, at 3 o'clock, mate. You get yourself out, go for a walk. Don't put Sky Sports News on. Turn your notifications off. Right? Don't look at the score till after full time on Sunday, and you'll have a much better weekend, mate.
Are you worrying about me, Zach? Is that what it is? Are you a bit worried?
I'm a little bit worried, mate. I'm a little bit worried, yeah. Just a little bit, pal. But no, but in all seriousness, it's pointless looking at it until the game week's over. Like, genuinely, all it does is it just causes anxiety for Sunday. Like, it genuinely does.
I might not even look at them after the game week's over. I might just stop watching like all the football rounds.
Are you gonna go off the grid?
See what happens.
Go off the grid, totally off the grid.
I tell you now, I'll be messaging you at 3:10 in the group chat saying, lads, have you seen the scores? Can you believe this? QPR are winning. Jeff Wednesday won last night.
When we stayed up last year and we beat Sheffield, I didn't go to the game because we were getting on a flight to go to Belfast the next morning, so I couldn't get to the game. But we watched it at my mate's house, and like the joy of us beating Sheffield and staying up is like amazing. I was really sad that I wasn't at the ground, but it just made the trip to Ireland, or Northern Ireland, I should say, just perfect. So hopefully you're going to bring some Irish look back with you, and we'll get a win on Sunday. Is that?
We don't want to be mid-table, mate. It's no fun. It's no fun.
We do. No, we do, Zach. No, we do. We want to be Cardiff. We want to be Cardiff. Right, well, I hope everybody's enjoyed the show. We've had a couple more comments from...
If one of these mentioned Sean Dyche again, I swear to God.
Arthur, who says Huddersfield's going down.
Cheers, Arthur.
He's a Leeds fan. Yeah,
nice one.
Yeah. And Ross says the league is mental. Yes, it is, mate. So thanks, everybody, for coming on tonight and making your comments and getting involved. Please, if you haven't already, chuck a like on the video and subscribe. I think, Zach, you're going to go on a bit of a mission around Dublin and get us loads of subscribers, are you, mate, in the airport, yeah?
I'll do that, mate, yeah. I'll do that, pal,
that's it. And obviously, Cal, looking fresh, mate. And we're hopefully that fresh trim will bring us some good vibes on Sunday. Cheers for coming on, boys. Cheers, Cal. Cheers, Zach. And we'll see you next week for another Huddersfield Town special, where hopefully we'll have 3 points for the Baggies. See you later.